old equipment. So you find that in Asia, particularly, they change their equipment every 3 to 4 years. But in Kenya, up to 15 years, you can use your equipment. And so it hinders productivity. Insufficient funding is another thing. So you cannot afford the latest equipment. So we tend to go for the old ones. On the issue of skills, there is a skills gap in the market. So one of the things that we have noticed, because at our factory we take in interns, and a lot of the interns who come to intern at our facility are mostly trained in fashion and design. But then to find somebody trained in manufacturing processes is quite a challenge. And so I think there is a skills gap in the market to address our productivity on the production floor. So in terms of design, I think a lot of our young people are going in for designing courses as opposed to manufacturing and the industrial engineering courses. So for now, I'll just address some of the ways which the government and all the stakeholders can look into addressing some of those productivity issues. So on the issue of skills development, you find that you go to school to study, but then I think it would make a bit more sense if we brought the training on site, such that if you want to study even equipment and repairs, you don't go to school to study, but you go where the equipment is. So shifting our minds to on-site training to develop the skills of our workers and focus more on specific issues relating to maintenance of our machines would address some of our productivity issues, because at the moment we are doing the opposite. I think the other thing is multi-skilling. Multi-skilling is whereby you find that you have a worker who can do more than one thing. So like for us, sometimes you find in terms of stitching, there are various different machines that you need to use. So when you find a worker who can work more than one or even two machines, that is a very valuable resource. So if we could multi-skill our workforce, not just in the textiles, but also in the leather sector. If we could multi-skill our workforce, then encourage them to be able to be trained on site, but then different skills, and provide certification for that. So then we are able to supply the manufacturers and the players in the industry with multi-skilled workers. The other thing is mid-level management. I think mid-level management is a very key position in companies. And so there is requirement for a lot of coaching and mentoring. So you would find the accountants, they are qualified accountants, they are qualified human resource, they are qualified production managers, and they require mentoring and coaching to be able to meet the requirements of production and increase productivity. So our productivity is suffering a lot because we have half-trained, not very supported middle-level management. And I think the other thing is also when companies take up training, like the training levy that we submit to NITA, it's a challenge to get refunds, and the process takes long, and you go through the whole process. So some of the things also that the government could look into is how those funding conditions, the training, the approvals can be looked at to be able to provide access to the funds easier than the way it is right now. And lastly, on the issue of skills, partnering with international research institutions and training institutions so that we can get world-class and best-in-class training programs would also address the skills gap that we have at the moment. Moving on to the issue of equipment and technology, providing funding definitely would go a long way, but also encouraging companies to go green, because going green would mean that you reduce your costs, you become more efficient, and so therefore your productivity would also increase. So promoting green certification among companies, however small it is, but then get your products certified, accreditations as green products, to provide credibility both internationally and locally, because a lot of buyers right now are actually going green. We are looking at sustainability, and so if your processes and your products are branded as green, you tend to get better prices, and you also get more demand for your product. So the last part I want to address is on access to markets. So many manufacturers lack access to markets, both the market opportunity and the source of the information. So a lot of us here today even were very happy to discover new areas that we can be able to get support from. And so knowing where to get information has been a problem. And I remember when the CS for industrialization, the first speech he gave, he said information has been very scarce. It's like nobody is providing the opportunities where the opportunities are. So I think another way of actually increasing our productivity, thus creating employment, is getting information out there. So a lot of us here don't even know how to start working with EPZ, for example. Personally, I had to walk into EPZ to be able to know what is required of me to export or to manufacture under the EPZ program and to export. So one of the ways of really getting information out there is programs and just beefing up their communication. Leveraging on public sector procurement. The public sector is actually a big market. The government can be able to take up a lot of the produce that we have, but then I think the issue comes in that getting that information, the tendering process and all that is not as easy as it is. So access to markets is one of the other ways that really makes productivity really not to where we would want as a country. And going forward, I think if we could look into addressing our skills gap, addressing the issue of funding, whereby funds should be available to both SMEs and even individuals who want to start producing both in the apparels, in the leather, and also textiles. Getting the funding would really go a long way in increasing our productions and also getting more people employed. So lastly, I think sponsoring of events like this one that we have and trade shows, just to get the buyers and the sellers to meet. So establishing both online and offline channels to be able to make meetings possible, and so create a market, and so the manufacturers and the producers of goods can be able to have a place that they can sell their goods, and so increase the productivity. So having just said that, I think just to summarize, the three issues that are currently affecting productivity is the skills gap, investment in equipment and technology, and access to markets, and funding for the productivity that we would want. At this point in time, I think what I want to do is to take any comments, any questions, anyone who would probably want further comments on anything.
Hello? Hello? Here. Hi, thank you. I have a question. So you mentioned that we would need a push to go green, to greenify our processes, maybe taking inspiration from what happens in Asia with changing of machines every 3 to 4 years. But my question and maybe provocation is, doesn't that create a lot of waste to replace our entire production line every 4 years? What do you think?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So on going green, I think start small. Like at our factory, we use solar for our ironing and our powering some of our machines. So going green in whichever way you can may be a solution. But in terms of replacing your machines, the machines that a lot of companies in this country use are actually 15 years old. And I know NEMA have programs for disposal of e-waste. So, linking up with such organizations to be able to figure out how to dispose some of that would go a long way in also going green. But then looking at the productivity that we are talking about, a 15-year-old machine may not be able to give you as much output per hour as a three-year-old machine. So if you are replacing every 3 to 4 years, definitely there's somebody who has a 15-year-old machine that thinks your 3 to 4-year-old is newer than their 15-year-old. But then, having said that, however, I know NEMA have an e-waste program that you can contact them and you are able to figure out how to dispose of.
Good afternoon. Okay, mine is basically on training. Really like to appreciate the government for what they are trying to do, having established NITA and TVET. However, I have a concern. The students who come to us for attachment are not able to even operate machines. And I feel there is probably somewhere or something that is not being done. And how can this be corrected? Because you find they come to you, they want to do attachment, being a professional in the industry, but you find you are teaching them more than them coming to work for you.
Thank you. What's your name, sorry?
Christine Musandu.
Thanks, Christine. I think you've just said exactly what I was saying. We also get interns, and there are two challenges with the interns that we get. Since we started taking interns, they all come because they have done fashion design. But a lot of the time, the design has already been decided by the buyer and everything. So you need an intern who can add value to the process of manufacturing. So our institutions are not meeting the market demand by producing the right skills that the market can absorb. So that is one. Number two, I mentioned the issue of doing on-site training, because some of those training places, if you go there, the 15, 20-year-old equipment is what is being used to train them. So you even ask somebody, where were you? They were stitching they don't know how to use an electric sewing machine. So they use the manual one, you know, the one which is used on some of the marketplaces and everything. So, but that is what is available. So the next step that we need to do is to take the training on site, partner with companies and train people on the machines that they are going to eventually use within the factory. So like Christine, what you've just said, the interns that you take can actually be trained fully, and probably you get remunerated for training them, instead of them paying money and they learn the textbook, you know, you just learn everything textbook, but then actually on the ground, things are different, yeah? So yeah, so those 2 points are well noted, and I think the government has done a lot, in my opinion. But we, I think, need to now move to the next step. If we want to increase our productivity, hire more workers, I think then we need to go to the next step of doing things, you know, which are more realistic, and get the people not half-baked, but really fully trained and ready to take up some of the work.
Any other question?
Right. So thank you very much, and thank you for listening. Hope that we'll all work towards improving our productivity.
Thank you, Madam Caro. Thank you very much. So we're going to take a 5 minutes break. Then we will start with our panel discussion. Afterwards, we'll have our fashion show, the Runway Kenya, which will be starting immediately after the panel discussion, which we're going to have. The topic of discussion is about brand identity and sourcing. You'll be hearing from Ubunif Association, from Keproba, from JLO Collections, and also from some of the EPZA members. So we're taking 5 minutes break as our panelists prepare. Then we'll proceed from there. Thank you.
and it's a company that has been able to supply for years large quantities and supplied huge brands. And at this point, he'll be coming here as an authority to give us what is it that you should do even as you grow your company and brand yourself with identity and make others want to buy from you. We spoke to him, I spoke to him and he told me one of the things that he does, he believes in innovation. And so he'll be coming here to share a lot about his experience and be a source of authority at this point. Welcome, Niban. We agreed we have common agreement on the name. Thank you very much and welcome. Please let's appreciate the panelists. We'll start by Hilda, who will be talking about her areas of branding. They're branding Kenya. And so how do we go about this? So she'll talk about her session first, and then we go on to the next session. Welcome, Hilda.
Thank you, Grace. As you've heard, my name is Hilda from Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. We are a government agency under the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment Promotion. So our mandate is twofold: export promotion and nation branding. So basically, we brand the country in order to increase exports. That is our main area of focus. So basically how we do it is managing the overall image and reputation of Kenya. So as you know, Kenya right now is known for athletics, is known for Masai Mara, is known for, what else? M-Pesa, yeah? But the world, when somebody thinks about Kenyan products, is it a country when you want to buy high quality products, let's say textile, yeah, does Kenya come to your mind? If you want to buy nice leather wallets, leather shoes, or leather handbags, do you think of Italy or Ethiopia? And why not Kenya? So basically, that's what we do. We tell the story of Kenya, but basically focusing on our products. We tell the story of textiles. Why is Kenyan textile the best? Why buy it from Kenya? You know that other countries such as, let's say, Germany or Japan, they are the strongest nation brands in the world. And Germany is known for its Mercedes, yeah? So what is our Mercedes? Why can't we make leather our Mercedes? When somebody is thinking about Kenyan, they want to buy leather, they want to buy handbags. Even our own Kenyan people, myself, if you hear this handbag is from Italy, you want to buy it, and maybe the leather is from Kenya. So basically, it's positioning our Kenyan products in the global market by telling the authentic stories about our products and building that connection with our consumers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hilda. Telling the story, making Kenya look good out there. Not only look good, but also tell that story about who Kenyans are. Thank you very much, Hilda. At this point, I wish to ask Nimachith, tell us about EPZA. How does branding come into effect, or make your company become one that we want to come and buy from you or source from you? So maybe that's where we would start.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have to thank the organization who are giving this opportunity to come here and present ourselves. And thank you for giving me opportunity to share my knowledge and thinking about this area. Hela is actually a global company. It's about $300 million company for the moment, and working in about 4 or 5 countries. And we are in Kenya. We are the single largest exporter in Kenya when it's come to export. And how we come to this level, basically, we first brand ourselves in front of the buyers' brands. Well, how we do it, actually, we have few areas that we worked. The one area is actually innovation, and we have a raw material innovation to garment innovation to all the areas. Innovation is working well. And then we go through the stories that currently people are working like sustainability, and we have a big sustainability story built behind Heller. And then other side, when you say Heller, our motto is like coming social capital company. What do you mean by that? We are into CSR, and this way we have brand ourselves, and we are working with the big brand like Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, Jockey, then this kind of underwear brands, because our factory in Kenya is fully focused on underwear, and we have about 5,000 people working on us. And other than that, actually, when you are branding, that other than what she said, I think we have to focus on the operation excellence also. That how we can be excellence in the operations. Then definitely when Kenyan people are excellent in the operations, then definitely people come and invest here. And because we have seen that skills, because we were going through long years with Kenya, establishing our company, and how we do actually this way. Actually, we show our operation excellence through lean manufacturing concepts and through other concepts that we are practicing inside the company, and becoming social capital company, and then other side actually innovation, and we are focusing on the current basically stories, that sustainability stories and all of this. And this is how we worked. And personally, what I see, that a lot of skills are there, and first you need to look at the quality, then operation excellence, innovation, and then sustainability. These are the areas I think we have to focus.
Thank you very much. You pick up the key points there. Social capital. When you talk about social capital, what would you highlight as one of the things that you've seen being key in your social capital visibility point?
Actually, we have few programs we are working, and we are combined. Some projects are going with actually some global companies to show us that we are into the people or people side also. That we have our own projects that we are working, like in our language we call Diri Daru. That means we actually support for the children, the poor children, and how we can support. Even that project is going across the world now, and this way. And other thing is our employees, we are allowing them to do their own business, and we are supporting them to they can do their own product themselves. And other than the income they are taking from a company, we are supporting them to sell their own product also. This way also we are supporting, because then when people actually become financially stronger, they are focused in the work also will be strong. This is how we think, and normally others are not thinking like that. And this way, actually, our social capital works are working. Other than that, actually, fresh water concept that we have built in Kenya, and we are giving fresh water for the people who are working with us. This kind of projects we are working under social capital.
Thank you very much. Take note. Branding is not only about the vision, a good mission, a good product, but about the people behind the product. It's so important to value them. Thank you very much. At this point, I wish to invite Dianga. Dianga, you are an SME. You are in a field where you have to fight through the waters to bring your face out there so that your brand can be visible. So, switch off. Yeah. So, at this Okay. So what I would like you to tell us is, how have you swum up? How do you keep your face up there? How do you keep your brand visible in a very highly competitive sector?
Can you hear me? You can hear me now? Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Dianga Ochino, the CEO and founder of Diro Jewelers and Enterprises. Branding is a very interesting subject for me. I think that you have to branding is how you present yourself to your consumer, and it is actually the thing that will speak for you when you're not in the room. Branding is completely about your identity. Now, it will definitely boil down to the must-have. It is the mic. Yeah, I think it's good now. So you definitely have to have a name. Your name will speak for you wonders in the in the space that you're working in. Then of course there's a logo. Then there's the visual images, or just how well you present yourself in the space that you're working in. Say even like now, since we are talking about brand Kenya and Keproba, how are we perceived outside there as runners? How do we ourselves? I think it boils down to who we are as an indigenous people. So I think you have to know yourself, be comfortable with who you are as a brand, because you're bringing people into, right? And it's not, if you're uncomfortable with something about yourself and it's the one thing that you want to sell, you probably are not going to be comfortable to sell it. So the more comfortable you are with yourself, the more you're in touch with who you are, what you like, what makes you say tick, what you, even as a person, because you'll be bringing people into this experience. And it's all about now how consumers interact with you in the space that you're, and I'm hoping I'm making sense.
Yeah, you're making sense, definitely. When it comes to SMEs, there are many challenges. And I think those are some of the brands that are being carried through by Keproba. What are some of the limitations that you found that makes it difficult for SMEs to keep their visibility out there, especially when like as Keproba, you are carrying both large and small and medium size all types of businesses. How do you do that? Maybe that's what would be a good start, especially because here we have quite a number of SMEs.
Okay, the biggest challenge that we have seen that SMEs are facing is number one, the products, most of the products are not branded, and some of them lack the technical know-how in terms of branding and the importance of branding. And that's why at Keproba we have an Exporters Academy, which we launched early not this year, late last year, where an SME who wants to venture into the export market undergoes a training on branding. Yeah. So we take you through all the steps from, as you say, from the vision, mission, how to craft your value proposition, how to create that identity, how to create your messaging framework, so that you're able to position yourself. Because Keproba, as I said, there are two levels of branding. The first one is to create the overall image and tell the story about Kenya. But the biggest responsibility lies with the SMEs, because we can tell the story of Kenyan leather and Kenyan textiles, how it is good, how it delivers value to the consumer or to the buyers. But then when the SME, when the customer orders the product is of low quality. So that is why, as much as we do the level 1, the level 2, we also have to talk to the SMEs and make sure that the products are well branded and they tell a consistent story. Yeah.
The consistent story. Let me first come back to Dianga. The consistent story is one thing that is a challenge. When it comes to raw materials, most of the raw materials are not necessarily local. So what you ordered last time or what your supplier gave you could be different. And especially in the textures, and this comes a lot heavily on leather, and I see there are quite a number of leather companies here. So and coming to brass as well, I know you're doing handcrafted products. How do you handle that discrepancy? Because you see, Keproba expects the same story from the last time, and our customers are also looking for the same. How do you sustain that so that your brand is known for consistency?
Okay. Just to pick it up from where Hilda got it off from, there is something called perception, which is largely what your brand is saying about you. Like it's in the mind of your consumer or in the mind of your target. But at the same, okay, this microphone. Yeah, sorry about that. Then there's now about perception. That is the perception that you've created in people's minds. But you have to, as a manufacturer, I have to be able to meet that expectation. You know, there's something that's called a brand promise, and that's what you're offering to the people in terms of even as you present yourself and as you're making the things. So when it comes to the raw materials, is always a challenge, especially in terms of sourcing. So there are days you'll find a low grade quality, but the processing has to be exactly the same or at least a notch higher. And there are days that you will not know. So there are times that you have to get your, like when we are sourcing, we have to source from people who are ethical when it comes to their supply chains. And some days it will demand that you go to the extent of getting certifications from these people, whether they are, you know, and some people, some of the suppliers that you're going to be working with are not going to be very open to giving you certifications because, you know, they say vitu kwa ground, like on the ground, how things are is not how they again are perceived. But the process, that's, the supply chain sometimes is not in your control, but what is in your control is the manufacturing process. And if whatever is in your control, you have to do your best. At least you have to be able to give 110%, so that even if, say, a product is compromised or the raw material is compromised, you're just going to say, I can't use this, and you wait until the right raw material is available. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dianga. And that comes to Nimajith. When it comes to sourcing, this is your expertise. You've had the challenges both SMEs and large companies are going through when it comes to sourcing the quality and also sustaining this, that quality that we are looking for. And I think that comes out here as a challenge. So I wish to request that you may be able to talk about it and how have you kept it consistent? Because I know for your kind of brands, there is no chance for discrepancy.
Thank you. I think Diana came to correct point, and when it's come to branding, maintain the brand quality level and the positioning consistency basically. The main area is supply chain, because if the supply chain is not supporting, definitely you will be in trouble. Your quality will go down, your brand will be basically collapse, and you have to move out from the market. And this has happened to so many big brands also in the world. And we have been in the industry about I have been in the industry about 23 years now, and as a company now it's also same like more than 20 years. And what we did actually in our area, uh, we always try to have a partnership, and we have to have a backward integration in supply chain. And when we are selecting supplier, we have a onboarding process, proper onboarding and evaluation, giving feedback, work as a team, work as a partners, and this way actually we maintain our supply chain. That's why today we are in the single largest exporter in Kenya, because we have a partnership with some suppliers. Example, we have partnership in Tanzania, fabric mill. And this way actually we are investing also, and then automatically they have to follow our process, because we are making agreements to follow the process, and then we evaluate them their quality level continuously. And we, example, we have put our technical people in Tanzania now, in the mill, inside the mill, and to maintain the quality levels. And otherwise, if supply chain is uh, collapse, then we also collapse, and basically brand will be in trouble.
Uh, Now that brings us to looking into our challenges. You know, in most cases, most of the times we talk about the sweet side of everything. But I really would love to hear the story of a limitation that you would say, or a challenge or an experience that relates to branding that actually flopped or affected you so heavily. So that we learn from these experiences, because we learn best from where we have had bad experiences. Yeah. So we would love to hear that. Now that you've been able to put up all these systems, what led to you to get into these systems? So that would be great to start with you now, Jim.
What do you mean? You mean system?
you came up with your systems
Yeah.
following challenges.
Yeah.
We want to hear the story of the challenges, the
Okay.
bad experiences you've ever had.
Yes. Actually, sometime due to the world situation, some supplier cannot survive, and their financial situations. Sometime they are actually quality level how to maintain due to situation. These kind of things coming, and other thing is price pressure coming. And in the world now, main thing is price pressure, right? Every brand is suffering. An example: recently, the PVH came to us and said that we need to reduce prices by 15%. That means Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein. Then how to do it? But we have to maintain the quality level. We have to make sure we reduce the prices also. Then what we did actually, we make sure that our process is running well. We went into the suppliers, we understand their process, we try to improve their process, and then through the process improvement, continuous improvement, we check how we can reduce the cost. And this way, actually, we had a problems like that. Some suppliers put us on trouble. Then, with that experience, we put up the system from onboarding to basically partnership. This level actually we worked, and we have worked even in Egypt also, and even only challenge we have in Ethiopia, and backward integration is not that strong in apparel. But I see that leather side, you have a good backward integration in Ethiopia, and Kenya actually we have already built it, and Ethiopia already built, and sorry, Egypt we have already built, and this way actually we are becoming a stronger and stronger daily basis. Uh, this is actually continuous improvement things that we have to follow. That's what we have seen.
Thank you. Hilda, you have carried brands, they have gone out there, but something didn't work out when it comes to how either they presented themselves, as you mentioned earlier. I would love to hear one of those stories, because what happens is some of us learn from listening to those experiences, so that as many brands may be able to tweak as early before we can hit the road running. I know for me, while I'm still in this work, I've seen the challenges of being given an order. I'm so excited about it. And then when I go to my supplier, I couldn't get what I was looking for. And I'm having my deadlines, and nobody else is. So you're starting to look for another supplier so that you can save your face. So maybe just getting to hear from you.
Okay, thank you, Grace. Yeah, there are many challenges with our stakeholders who are our SMEs. As Dianga already said, the SMEs deliver the brand promise because they own the product. Keproba does not own the product. We just create awareness and link you to the buyers. So I haven't seen a case in the leather or textile industry, but let me talk about a recent case where in the horticulture sector, I received the email that someone delivered avocados that were rotten, you know, and it is so sad. We are trying to promote Kenyan avocados, and the supplier has sent you photos of actually the consignment with avocados that have gone off. So issues of consistency and the quality. Then the other challenge also recently in Dubai, Expo 2020 Dubai, again, we sell our capability as a country. So when we are talking to the buyers, we say, Kenya, our products are authentic, unique, high quality, and we have consistency supply. So this exporter receives an order to deliver a certain product, and they were not able to. They were walking around with the LPO, you know. Yeah, they come to Keproba, now I have this order I got it from Expo, but I don't know what to do, you know. I can't, I don't have enough quantities to supply. So those are just some of the challenges. And as we have already said, branding is the entire story in terms of your identity, the story, the consistency in supply, the operational excellence, yeah, everything. We have to connect all the dots. So if we just do, if you're not able to deliver one of those, then we lose trust with the buyers. And the next time they say, oh, no matter how well you promote or how you talk about Kenyan products, no, I already had an experience, they go to another country. So that's why, as an agency, we handhold the SMEs. The Exporters Academy, please come, yeah? We take you through how to develop your product, brand it, adapt it to a certain market, and link you to the buyer. And we just make sure that, in fact, let me give this example of Sweden. I think it was in May. And we were meeting some buyers, and they told us, you'd rather even tell me that you can supply just one box every month, but don't tell me that you're going to supply a container. Yeah? So I'd rather know that from this Kenyan supplier, they'll be delivering or they'll be supplying me one box every month, and it is consistent like that. But now if we don't deliver on the promise, then we lose trust. Yeah, those are some of it.
Trust, trust, trust. Trust is built over time. Trust is because you keep your promise. Thank you very much, Hilda. Dianga, I'm looking at hearing most of the challenges are actually among the SMEs because the purchasing power, the limitations are quite something. And so I would like to hear your part of the story when it comes to export market, because that's one of the things why we are all here today. Exporting quality, exporting consistency. So could you give us some of the challenges, the limitations that you found, especially when it comes to engaging international markets?
Yeah, I hope, yeah. No, I think it's working fantastic. I'd like to start off the conversation by saying that I am I'm a product of I don't think there was an academy by the time I was going through product development training, but I've undergone product development training with Keproba when it was EPC, then they became Keproba. And there's usually a knowledge gap, especially for SMEs. Like you find someone has maybe even a fantastic product or even a fantastic idea, but they don't know how to present it in the market, especially in the export market. Now, for example, we are here. Most buyers, when they engage you, they expect you to have a line sheet. A line sheet is it's just a document that has your product. Let's say not just your product, not necessarily on a model, but the basic product, and it has to have a retail price and a wholesale price. So you'll find maybe an SME has come and they're just coming to sell. So the knowledge gap is there, and that is the reason why you really need to be able to press yourself, at least invest in yourself. Those are some of the challenges that I went through. You engage with a buyer, they're asking you for these things. You are completely unaware that that's what you need to have. Another one, some days, I think it's the mindset. We think that it's an expensive venture, and when you come into business, half the time, especially when you're an SME, you're surviving. So you think that branding is expensive, and even when you think about some days, you're being told that when you brand, it will leverage your business for growth, but you can't even think about growth because especially right now, there's all talk about the hustler economy. And you're wondering, hey, how am I going to brand and still put on the food on the table and keep the lights on? And those are just some of the challenges that we go through. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can reckon to what she's saying. And most of us are out there not budgeting for our branding, not going behind to search as as we were informed in terms of working with suppliers who are reliable and investing on the suppliers. There's something you mentioned about working with your suppliers. I would like to know a little bit. Does it not feel that we have gone too far, like going back all the way to getting invested into the supplier? But what does it mean? How does it impact you? And how has it added value within the business, going back and working with the supplier?
Actually, first what we did, first we understand whether whether we can have a long journey. And if we don't see that long journey that we can go, because they also need to actually maintain same energy level that we are maintaining. Otherwise, investing money is waste. And first we understand that, then we go and invest. Investing in different way. One is actually knowledge level, that we bring the people who are having technical know-how done in their life well, and we are putting people there and trying to improve the process. And when we are improving, we are seeing that they are coming into the different level of quality and consistency. And then actually we go and invest for sometime the machinery, sometime people. This way we did. And actually most of the areas like packaging to main materials to all the areas actually we have done it now. And if you talk about in Kenya also we have bring some suppliers from outside also, and it's actually creating more value addition into supply chain. And if you talk about the total value chain now we have built in this way, example now we are bringing more suppliers in future. I think last time I saw that one your president also talking about one supplier coming in here. We are bringing them actually. And Jeff and I, one of the packaging supply we bring here, they are in the EPZ area, and then we bring actually another printing and basically label suppliers into the country, and then we are bringing another heat transfer supply into the country. Like that, we are bringing suppliers and we merge with them and work. And this way we are working, and they cannot move out uh, with the agreements that we are making. And we are investing also through financial institutions are supporting us. This way we are working, and always we try to evaluate continuous evaluation and improvement we are looking at, because we are in the competition world, uh, right? This world is more competitive day by day, and we cannot stop it. And then our supplies also need to run like that. An example, we bring another elastic supply into the country. They are going to start from September, and my fight with them always that, okay, how to do better, how to reduce the cost in this way coming into the country, and how to give more actually basically do more business in Kenya in future. That was a discussion yesterday I had with them. And because when they are coming here we are bonding with them, and if they are not performing then we are in trouble, right? What you said. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You are coming close to closing this session. However, I would like to request that 3 people may be thinking about the questions they would like to ask before we finalize. But one thing that I would like to highlight is the aspects that we've picked up. One, branding and sourcing is about the story of your brand, the story of your product, and being able to communicate it. It's about social capital. It's about people. It's about investing on those you're working with, your suppliers, your staff members, that your staff are valuable as much as you value your product. It's about consistency, selling consistency, that I can rely on you, that whenever I come to you, I can find what I saw. The last time I saw your product is still the same thing that I'll come and find from you. It's about managing costs. It's about being wise. When you invest on your suppliers, then you have managed your costs more effectively. Because when you work with your suppliers, strengthen them and equip them, as you mentioned here, then you are able to equip yourself and reduce your risks of failure. And then the fact that we have supporting agencies like Keproba, and I can see also there are others here with Kipi and all that. The agencies are out there. Look for partners who are reliable, who are offering that opportunity to equip you and support you. Because as much as you go to the market, you're going to brand a product, you're going to sell a product, you're going to engage with your product, and there's so much behind you. And then again, it's about information. We're told about information. Information is power. Search, get as much information on how to equip and build your brand, and have a brand that one can rely on. Yeah, so at this point, I want to ask if there are 3 questions. Could we have someone help us with the microphones? Could you see hands? 3 maximum questions, and you say the question to whom you are directing. The session was that good. Yeah? There's a question over there.
Thank you. My name is Georgina in the leather industry, and my question goes to you, Hilda. It is a concern that we've talked about consistency, and in leather, the consistency is about the shade, and that has really been setting us back. My question would be, who is taking the information from us to the tannery, to the tanner, that the consistency on the shades is really affecting the product? Because, for instance, if I have an order for some folders, 1,000 folders, I'm able to order that lot, But the next lot that is coming is different. That speaks volume of compromising to my client. Who is taking my power of explanation to the client that the design, the workmanship has not been compromised, but the shade, who is explaining to my client? Are you able to gap it up that the client is asking, why is there no consistent? Is it about the rationing? Who is explaining that? Who is having my gap in thinking?
Thank you very much. We'll go to the next question, the 3 questions, then we answer them as we close.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Hassan. I'm representing Auto International. We are an active buyer in the region. We are sourcing from Ethiopia, Uganda, and Kenya. My question will be to Numajit. I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. I appreciate the effort that you are trying to maintain the sourcing your needs from the locally or regionally, which is very good. But I would like to check, have you been assessed the market, the local market means Tanzania and Kenya, for the accessories that you are bringing from the abroad? So you are encouraging your existing partners to invest in Kenya, but how about the suppliers already existed in Kenya? Do they achieve your targets? Do they achieve your expectations or not? That's why you are bringing your foreign investors to here. So this is my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have an opportunity for one last one. There's one behind you.
Thank you very much for this knowledge sharing platform. I wanted to ask, as you said, the brand journey is very difficult and it's not easy. But we have to also advise regarding the market segments that the SMEs should enter. Like, for example, they may not compete in the mass market, so we should advise the niche market that they should compete on brand-based development. So what are your experience or your platforms so far that you have so that you can share for those SMEs out there to share your experiences? Thank you very much. I am from Africa Laser Product Institute. My name is Birkanesh. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have 3 questions. I think the last question goes to everyone about your experiences. And I think that would be good because she's saying some of them are requiring to supply in small quantities. What are some of the tips that you would like to share? So we'll start with you, Hilda.
Thank you very much. So about the question on the gap, now the leather value chain is one of the priority value chains for the current government, and that's the main reason why it has been selected, it has been prioritized, yeah, and it's because of those challenges. So right now, there is, as the PS already said, they intend to set up a technical working group for the leather to look at the challenges that you are currently facing, because and then Keproba, we are also going to be part of the leather working group, because we have to develop the route to market for leather. Yeah. So you're right in saying that there are things that the client will ask, yeah, the buyer will ask, but it's because of the challenges in the value chain. Yeah. So this is something that we are going to work on, and hopefully it will be addressed very soon. Yeah. And then on the other question about the niche markets. So what we do in Keproba, we do market research about different sectors. So for instance, leather, we know how Kenya is performing in terms of the different export markets. So we know that some of our top markets are Italy, USA, yeah. So we go deeper and try to look to understand the consumer tastes and preferences. So once we have that information, then we bring the stakeholders together. Let's say the leather stakeholders. Then we present those opportunities, and we inform them that this is what the Italians are looking for, yeah? So that now they are able to adapt their products to what the buyer is looking for. So that's what we do. So it just starts with understanding the market and, as you say, the niche segment, because we might not be able to supply the entire world, but again, even in that one market, Italy, there is a certain segment that we need to focus on. So we share that information and again, handhold the SMEs to make sure that the products are adapted to the needs of that buyer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hilda.
Yeah, I think I will first focus on the question directly asked from me. And yes, we have actually selected suppliers locally also. We are working for some packaging supplier locally, but there are some limitation coming with the nominations from brands. And then actually we have to bring the people who has a nomination. Sometimes we are trying to have a partnership with local and overseas both. And there are something that we are doing like that also. And due to limitations, sometimes we are coming that, and sometimes technical know-how. And these are the things actually, but still, our main target is to actually select the suppliers locally. That's for sure. That's why we bring supplier from Tanzania, and it's actually 4 hour distance from here. It's actually through border, right? And then we are reducing the lead time in that way, selecting supplier locally, and it's Africa to Africa. And then next, actually, I could mention one important point that we are working on a cotton made in Africa that project. And this, I heard earlier someone was talking, I think minister was talking about cotton made in Africa, that we also align to that project. And we are working with Tanzania mills and try to get the Tanzanian cotton, and sometimes we can bring cotton, even Kenya cotton also. And this way we are working a lot of projects. It's a long-term project, but it will be end up with actually bringing business to Kenya. I think other questions, I think I'm not that much of familiar to answer. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it's important that we see how we can tap to the resources in the local market. And you know, if there are challenges, where do we go? How do we deal with those gaps? So that our local markets can also be able to benefit by having IPs a day in Kenya, and the fact that there are people who are producing. If you mentioned earlier that you actually work with suppliers, so there is an opportunity for you there, and also for those who are exploring to get into the EPZ market. He has mentioned they are looking for people for accessories. So engaging with them, as we are talking about sourcing today, there is somewhere to source there, right?
Definitely.
Thank you very much, Dianga.
Okay, I'll handle the last question, but I'll handle it like an SME. For me, I say branding is not something that like Rome was not built in a day. You'll not arrive at your target customer probably the first day that you start business, but it is actually hoped, and it is good business practice for you to be able to know that you're serving market segment that is X and that you can meet its needs. And this is what I would say, especially for an SME. You need to invest in knowing your customer. That might mean going where your customers go, where just actually building a customer profile, and you'll be able to understand what that does for your business. I once built a customer profile and I actually gave her a name. Then I've been seeing them, I meet them all the time. Some of them are here and I come, I serve them. And once you, at least, I say there's, faithfulness comes in degrees, and another word for faithfulness is consistency. If you can learn to serve a market segment, say of even 10, then you can extrapolate that and grow it to 100, then eventually 1,000, and you'll find that you're now growing even into the export market. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's an additional point for our carry home. Understanding your customer needs and being able to meet them. I think at this point, we'll be coming to a close, and I will be asking for a parting shot from each one of my panelists as we wind up. Hilda?
So the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency we exist to support SMEs in all sectors. So feel free to contact us, come to our office. We have our Exporters Academy. If you want to venture into the export market, we will take you through how to develop your product, how to brand your product, how to package yourself in the export markets, and link you to the buyer. So we are located at Anniversary Towers, first floor and 16th floor. So you're all welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda.
Yeah. First of all, I have to thank this organization committee and all the government authorities that organizing this and bringing us here and sharing the knowledge. And anytime we are ready to actually support anyone sharing knowledge and supporting this East Africa zone and especially Kenya. And we are fully focused on Kenya in future also, and we are going to expand the capacity also. And in this way, actually, we will bring a lot of job opportunities as well as knowledge. As actually we are working in Sri Lanka as a knowledge hub, only in future manufacturing and everything will bring in here. And we are talking about in future actually product kitchen also, like now we cook our product in Sri Lanka and bringing it here and producing. But in future we are thinking about product kitchen also in location into the zone level. And this way actually knowledge will come to your side in future, whatever we have learned in our history. Okay, thank you again for everyone.
Okay, my parting shot would be something that I learned from one of my friends, and I'll again say it from the perspective of an SME. One of my friends said that there are people who don't wear good things or nice things. They wear branded items. So you might be here and you probably have a fantastic product, but it's not been well branded, which means you don't have a company name, a logo, but you have a fantastic thing. No one knows you in the market. Who are you? I would tell you to get into the branding journey. And of course, you can find me at the Ubunifu stand, and we can talk more about branding. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I think it's been a good session, a learning session. Branding is key. You've got to have it as your, even if it's slowly investing on it, it's an area that you must invest on it as a business. Sourcing goes beyond just engaging your supplier, but it also means being able to work with the supplier to come and meet your needs effectively. And ultimately, we all know that as we brand our products, we brand ourselves, we brand our companies, others will desire because of the brand. You see Nike, you know what it means, and you know their quality, you understand them, that is how we want to build ourselves to be one visible brand that others will reckon with. They know you, they see you. I usually say, if you see J-Lo, you know it's bags. I'm telling myself, I want people to know J-Lo and know my company as Bags Company. So as much as you go out there, engage with others and have consistency that others desire your brand. We are thankful. Thank you very much. And I'm excited to have been a part of this as representative from both my company, J-Lo, but as also for Ubunifu Association. And for those who don't know who is Ubunifu Association, we are an association that comes together to work on access to markets for leather, textile, home decor, and basketry and jewelry products. And so we are bags from Keproba. Keproba has been our great support, training us, equipping us. So as she mentioned earlier, take advantage. Thank you very much, and we appreciate for being with us this session.
If you believe you can move the highest mountains, cross the greatest